sustained. It may assume facts not in evidence as well. The answer is stricken disregard. Re-ask, Mr. Chernoff.
You believe that more propofol was administered into Michael Jackson at some point, don't you?
Yes, I do.
All right. The extraordinary claim, however, that you made was 100 milliliter infusion based on the demonstration that you provided to this jury. Wouldn't you agree that that's extraordinary?
Objection, Ms. State's testimony was based on the data.
Would you agree that that's an extraordinary claim, the demonstration that you gave to the jury and said occurred in this case?
Overruled.
Ms. State's testimony.
You may answer it
Yeah.
and explain.
It's an ordinary claim.
Well, now we've discovered. Well, let's look at the IV that you said was used for an infusion. Okay, the IV setup.
I
That-
did.
Objection, Ms. State's testimony.
Sustained.
The IV setup that you said was used for an infusion, you demonstrated for the jury that this particular IV set was used, and you said it was ordered from Suncoast. Do you remember saying that?
Objection, Ms. State's testimony said it was a
It doesn't
possibility.
misstate that. Okay.
Remember?
Okay.
Wait a
Can we
minute.
approach that?
No. I'm going to sustain the objection. Re-ask the question. Thank you.
Well, then I'm going to have to do it over again. Can I see the exhibits? That you- Opening this up. This is going to be People's Exhibit 80. Judge, I'm opening.
Okay?
That's fine. I think it's a sealed package. Oh, that's good.
May I approach the witness?
Sure.
This is what you said to the jury last week was used by Conrad Murray to infuse propofol. Right?
No, that misstates my testimony.
All right. Was this one of the IV setups that you showed? Yes?
I believe so, yes.
Is this the IV setup that you said was purchased from Suncoast?
Yes.
Is this the IV setup you said was used for an infusion pump? Designed for an infusion pump?
Testimony that it was used for an infusion
Is it
pump.
designed for an
Just
infusion
a
pump?
moment, please.
It is designed
Wait
for...
a minute. Please. Please, please, please. What's the objection?
Ms. State's testimony that he said it was used with an infusion pump.
Sustained. The answer stricken. Disregard. Re-ask.
Is this designed for...
Wait a minute. Please, don't interject.
It's an objection. It was Seacoast, not Suncoast. So the record's clear.
All right. Seacoast. Re-ask, please.
Is that what misrepresented your testimony, that it was Seacoast and not Suncoast? Doctor? Let me ask you, this is designed for infusion pumps, right?
That is correct.
Did you use this to demonstrate an infusion of the propofol?
Yes, I did.
Did you use it to demonstrate an infusion of a propofol bottle, a vial?
Yes, I did.
Now you're saying that this was not used.
Objection, Ms. State's
Is that right?
I don't know...
Overruled.
I don't know what was used. I wasn't there.
Well, now what you're saying is that defense W, I'm opening up. Now what you're saying is that defense WW, which is the Excel administration site, IV setup, was vented, right?
Objection, this testimony is regarding People's 157.
May I see it?
Just a moment, please. The objection is sustained. I don't believe the witness is referring to that, so you don't have to answer anything. You can re-ask your question, please.
I'm opening up 157.
All right, we've got a lot of exhibits that have been opened. We need to put them back, though, when you're done using them, so we don't get them confused.
Objection, there's no questions.
Well, the witness is being asked to look at something. Mr. Chernoff's indicating he's opening up something. I want something replaced, though, so we don't
Can we
have...
get, yeah, I'm sorry, Your Honor, there's now 3 sets laying out here.
Mr. Chernoff, I don't know if you're through with any of the materials, but since they're exhibits, we need them replaced.
Well, I'm not done asking questions about it, Judge.
Okay, let's just make clear we don't want them confused. Go ahead.
I'll
You're
try to-
making reference to WW now?
Let me replace what is in your hand, Doctor, with People's 157. This is identified as the exact type of IV setup. In fact, this is the IV setup that was found at the scene. Is that right?
That is correct.
This is the Excel IV setup.
That is correct.
And this Excel IV setup is vented.
Yes, This is the vent port right here.
In the analysis that you made, you referred to People's 80 as an IV that was vented, right?
Correct.
And that was used to infuse propofol into Michael Jackson.
Objection, misstatement testimony.
I believe
Overruled.
my testimony was very clear that an vented set had to be used. And it was my belief, because I had not yet examined this, but based upon the fact that the Seacoast documentation did not say vented, it was my belief prior to this morning that there was no vent, but there is a vent. It's very clear. But my testimony was to the need for a vented set.
All right, Mr. Chernoff, you've got all sorts of materials lying on top of each other at the council table. We need the materials placed in their respective envelopes, please. So which are you putting in first?
I'm not putting anything in, Judge. I'm organizing it so we don't get confused.
Well,
Is there something you'd like me to do? Would you like me to put it away and take it out again?
I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm putting People's 157 in a bag, Judge. Right now. I'm putting People's 80 in a bag, small bag. And putting it in a large bag, marked as People's 80. All right?
Mr. Walgren?
I observe that.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm taking People's 157 out again. Okay? And I'm also opening up People's 156. Okay? And I'm reaching in and I'm pulling out an IV bag. People's 157 was found, as you know, inserted into an IV bag, right?
Objection. Assumes facts, not evidence.
Do you know whether it was?
Overruled.
Calls for speculation.
Overruled.
I would want to go back and look at the report. If you will hand me the report, I'm happy to look back at that.
All right. Let me ask you a very simple question. Could Dr. Murray or anybody in that room have taken People's 157 and stuck it into a propofol bottle and drained it through an IV? Yes or no?
Is it mechanically capable? Objection, vague. Is it mechanically capable of doing that? What?
Overruled. You may answer the question
Yeah.
if you understand it.
Well, I do understand the question, but are you asking me if that's consistent with the evidence, or is it just physically
I'm asking
possible
you,
to do it?
Is it possible for him to have done that?
It is physically possible to remove that and insert it into a bottle of propofol. That would be physically possible.
He would have opened the vent, stuck it in, and it could have drained. It's physically possible.
It's physically possible.
So Dr. Murray could have done that, but you now know, or you agree with me, that the evidence shows that there was no propofol in this line whatsoever.
That's correct.
So physically, Dr. Murray could have taken this line out of an IV bag, and if he wanted to run an infusion, could have just simply put it in a bottle. Physically.
Physically, yes.
Tell us what's going where, Mr. Chernoff.
Putting 157 back into 157. I'm putting 156 back in 156. All right. Now it appears that your testimony is, Doctor, that your new theory is that there was actually another Excel line at the scene?
It's not a new theory at all. My demonstration was of two IV lines with the requirement that the IV line attached to the bottle is vented. That was my demonstration. That hasn't actually changed at all.
Well, but is your new theory that that particular IV line, which is recognized as People's 80, was no longer used, and that an Excel was used?
I wasn't there. I don't know which one. I just know a vented set was used.
Well, that's true. You weren't there.
Fact.
Is the answer yes?
The answer is yes, I was not there.
Everything else is stricken. Disregard.
Doctor, on Thursday, or the day that you came up with this demonstration, were you a...
Organization came up with, the people asked him to demonstrate it.
Just a moment. It's argumentative, sustained. Re-ask.
When the people first approached you to ask you to demonstrate, were you intending to demonstrate the cut IV bag at that time, or were you intending to demonstrate something else?
Overruled. Do you understand it?
Yes,
You may answer.
I was intending to demonstrate the setup for a intravenous infusion. The primary purpose is because the plumbing is not at all obvious to a non-medical person. The need for two lines, one line being the saline line and one line being the propofol line.
Doctor, my question is this. When Mr. Walgren approached you and popped open the tab on the propofol bottle, which was marked as People's 30, were you planning to demonstrate that as a scenario in this case?
Objection. Improper. I was asking the questions of the doctor. He was responding to my questions, Your Honor.
I'm going to overrule the objection. You may answer.
I don't understand the question. First
Okay. I don't understand the question. Is the answer everything else is stricken? You may re-ask it.
You have demonstrated for this jury a propofol bottle propped up in a bag, an IV bag, correct?
That is correct.
Were you planning to make any other demonstration of any other possible scenario?
Overruled.
My scenario, can you tell me what you mean by the word scenario? I was trying to demonstrate primarily plumbing.
Were you going to demonstrate to the jury another way for that propofol bottle to have infused propofol through that line? Were you, let me be more specific.
Please.
Were you about to demonstrate for the jury that that propofol bottle was going to hang on that IV stand?
Whether or not it hung on the IV stand was irrelevant to my demonstration. I truly cared neither way.
Were you going to demonstrate that to him?
Objection, speculation. He was
Sustained.
For
You don't have to answer it. Partial answer stricken. Disregarded.
I'll pass a witness.
Thank you, Mr. Chernoff. Anything on redirect, Mr. Walgren?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. May Dr. Shafer step down, subject to recall, Mr. Walgren?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Chernoff.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Shafer, I want to thank you for your testimony. Sir, please don't discuss your testimony or the facts of the case with any other witness until we finish the trial. And while you may step down and leave, you are to remain on call, which means you're subject to recall up until the end of the trial. Is that all right?
that is right. Yes,
Thank
Your
you,
Honor.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. May I see counsel?